Greetings, everyone. This is Rock Most Welcome to another installment of Mutant Monday. And this time we'll be looking at Hellions, number 1. So, first off, a little background on the name. Initially, the Hellions referred to basically the Hellfire Club's version of the New Mutants. That is to say, young mutants who were taken in by, well, the Hellfire Club and taught how to use their powers. However, unlike with the New Mutants, whereas while the New Mutants were trained to use their powers to help others, the Hellions were generally taught how to use their powers for their own advantage. There was also a brief period where Magneto, who at that point in time was headmaster of Xavier's school, merged the school with Emma Frost Massachusetts Academy and merged the Hellions and the New Mutants, leading to actually a good number of the initial New Mutants becoming members of the Hellions. A large portion of the Hellions were actually killed, however, during, I want to say it was Uncanny X-Men number 281, as part of the Upstarts game. And there were some who had previously already left the team. And, of course, because, well, death is rarely permanent in comics, more than a few have made return appearances. And now, especially with the resurrection protocols on Krakoa, it's safe to say they're probably all back now. So, we begin with a quote from Nightcrawler. "It is folly to create an Eden if one has no use for snakes." And we begin in San Francisco. A team of X-Men consisting of Siren, Wolverine, Rockslide, Nightcrawler, and Havoc are going after a terrorist group called the Hellfire Cult, who actually have nothing to do at all with the Hellfire Club or the Hellfire Corporation. The Hellfire Trading Company. Nightcrawler and Havoc are inspecting the van that the cult members have and trying to figure out how they got the weapons. Havoc presumes that someone sold them to the cult, whereas Nightcrawler assumes or posits that maybe they were stolen. Havoc's not exactly buying that one, looking at the down cult member at his feet, saying, the guy doesn't look like a cat burglar. And he then goes on to posit that most likely what happened was a rich bigot wanted to help dumber, poorer bigots celebrate the anniversary of the Mutant Massacre with another one. Nightcrawler chides him, saying that it's dangerous to assume that they're all out to get mutants. But Havoc kind of retorts, or asks, are you teaching me, or did I stumble into your Bible studies? Nightcrawler, after all, for those unaware, is actually probably one of the most religious members of the X-Men. Probably one of the more religious comic book characters. However, while they're before Nightcrawler can answer, one of the cult members fires a rocket at the van, destroying it and injuring Nightcrawler and Havoc, knocking out Nightcrawler, but Havoc is still alive. However, he's had a bit of a break, and it honestly kind of strikes me as maybe his his, the personality shift that he experienced during and after the Axis arc, maybe takes control because he attacks the cult members and very nearly kills one of them until, of all people, Wolverine stops him. And then, which snaps Havoc out of it, and he's now just kind of wondering what the hell he did. So, cut to Krakoa and the Quiet Council with Magneto stating that all mutants are welcome at Krakoa, even the inconvenient ones. Basically, a trial is coming, and Sinister basically states, yeah, okay, the inconvenient mutants are allowed, but if I have to behave, everyone does. So throw all of them in the pit of exile. And Exodus basically delivers the dialogue equivalent of rolling his eyes at Sinister, rolling his eyes and sighing at Sinister's comment. And then Sinister basically, hey, you want to start this? I'll be on your ass every step of the way. Mainly over shoulder ornamentation, though. Mystique is not amused. Emma Frost isn't back on point, and the prisoners are brought forth. Empath of the old school Hellions, Wild Child, formerly of Alpha Flight and Weapon X, though for some reason wearing his Age of Apocalypse costume. Nanny, an orphan maker. John Scalp Hunter, Grey Crow. And Havoc. Empath insists he doesn't know why he's here because he was just having fun. Cut back, and we cut to the Academos habitat and the crimes of Manuel de la Rocha, Empath. Jetstream, another of the old school Hellions, comes upon him, sees he's doing something, sees something going on that disturbs him, and goes off on Empath, saying, you can't be doing this. If they find out, they're going to kick you out. And then Empath takes control of his mind and says, shut up, enjoy yourself. And so Jetstream begins laughing at the scene, which is apparently, I guess, I'm not sure which aside from Cat's Eye, I'm not sure who else the other two members of the Hellions that are here, but the three of them are fighting. Empath says to the currently mind-controlled Jetstream, cat fight, get it? However, Armor and Glob Herman see this and try to stop them, and so Empath has Jetstream take on the two of them. We then get a write-up about the Empath Problem. Now, this is actually a small problem I do have with the issue. None of the text pages say who the writing is supposed to be accredited, which character the writing is supposed to be accredited to. So, notes on Manuel de la Rocha. I finally analyzed the temporal size slices Emma harvested from Manuel de la Rocha's brain. The results were disturbing as expected, but for an alarming reason. They revealed a cold, sadistic mind ravaged not by psychosis or genetic defect, but bad data. To explain, the brains of our species, like those of our Homo sapiens cousins, come hardwired for environmental feedback. We touch a flame, we get hurt, we never touch the flame again. So too do we look at to our peers for emotional feedback. We hurt a friend, their tears shame us. We strive to bring back a smile, and so we learn to bargain, apologize, embrace, and connect. Not so Empath. Upon the activation of his X gene at an atypically young age, Manuel gained the power to control the emotions of others. He had only to flex his mind and all social feedback became positive. No matter how hurtful his actions, he only experienced love and adoration in return. His insults would inspire affection. His violence, adulation. His sadism, devotion. No action was so heinous as to alienate him from his peers, as they were under his thrall. Environmental cause and effect, the emotional data the mind relies on to form its reality, disappeared. Manuel de la Rocha is a warped, profoundly unpleasant young man, a danger to every mutant on Krakoa. But the uncomfortable truth of his case is this: a violent sociopath was not gifted the X gene. The X gene created a violent sociopath. Knowing this, what do we do with the other mutants whose gifts and their expression are intrinsically antisocial? How do we rehabilitate them without fundamentally rejecting their mutant identity? Next we have The Passion of Nanny and the Orphan Maker. Angel and Beast, and I think Bling's there too, but it's mainly Angel and Beast fighting Orphan Maker. He's explaining he doesn't want a nap, he wants his nanny. Beast tries to talk him down and gets headbutted for his efforts. Bear in mind that Orphan Maker is wearing a full suit of body armor, so yeah. Headbutting someone in the face is going to hurt them. And so Beast decides to let Nanny out. And so Nanny comforts Orphan Maker and sings to him and feeds him. But we don't see that. We just see that it says drink from. It says drink from Nanny, and yeah. Though the reactions on the faces of both Angel and Beast kind of say it all. That we really don't want to see it. Next up in the Healing Gardens, we have the curious condition of Kyle Gibney, Wild Child. So we begin with Sage and Cecilia Reyes going through the Healing Gardens. Apparently, Wild Child went feral within days of landing on Krakoa. Leading to and Wild Child ran out of boar in front of some children. One of the children freaked out and tried to save the boar, and got clawed up pretty bad. So Celia realizes, okay, Sage is trying to fix Wild Child. And they've got some they've come up with medication that will keep the ravenous wolfman psycho away, as Sage puts it. Apparently they were utilized by Department H, presumably back when Wild Child was part of Alpha Flight. And she kind of ribs up, and Sage kind of ribs Cecilia a little bit with how she got the pills, but they come to Wild Child's cell, and Cecilia notices that someone's been digging in digging in the little plant habitat adjacent. And Cecilia finds lots of Wild Child's pills. And so Wild Child attacks the two, though Cecilia puts up a force field of sorts. Next up, we've got the ghosts that haunt John Greycrow. John Greycrow was one of the members of the Marauders who participated in the Mutant Massacre. And to be completely honest, this is actually a moment I have been waiting to see since, like, House of X number 5. Now, it's how the surviving Morlocks would react to the Marauders being on, the surviving Marauders being on Krakoa with them. So, Greycrow's sitting on a beach, putting together a weapon, well, cleaning it and reassembling, when he's found by some of the old Morlocks, led by Callisto, who asks him if he knows what day it is. He explains it's the day he cleans his guns, same as every day. But apparently it's the anniversary of the Mutant Massacre, and the surviving Morlocks haven't forgotten. And so they charge him. Back to the hearing. Storm, says to him he attacked a defenseless group of Morlocks, victimizing them yet again, and asks if he hasn't caused enough pain. And Greycrow says, guess not. Xavier thinks it's troubling that they've given a home paradise to predatory mutants. However, Magneto says that it's their responsibility to make a place for them. Which, actually, Apocalypse echoes, such is the promise of Krakoa, but he's then cut off by Sinister, who's like, hey, wait. There's another one we haven't heard from yet. Cyclops is also present, and, well, he's not happy that his brother is on trial here. Especially without him being told. Storm, well, first Havoc tells him, it's okay. Storm then says, this is business of the Council. Jean then adding that, Havoc put 3 humans in the hospital, 2 of them lost limbs, and 1's disfigured for life. So, Cyclops asks him what they're talking about, and Havoc can't remember. Explaining that he thinks his head might still be messed up. Nightcrawler chimes in, explaining that Havoc is going to kill them. And he would have if Logan hadn't stopped him. Then later emphasizing that it was Logan that stopped him. Magneto says that had there been a death, there would be no discussion, no choice but to exile him to the pit. Cyclops simply says that in that case he would have no choice either. However, the posturing is interrupted by Mr. Sinister, because he's had an idea. And he explains to Cyclops he's come to save the day. He then gestures at the mutants on trial, explaining they aren't predators, they're square pegs straining heroically against round holes. He asks, what will we, the Quiet Council of Krakoa, do with our outcasts, our unwanted? Medication? Incarceration? These are human solutions. They're sweaty and they are dumb and they are GD boring. The exact dialogue. I know everyone on this council looks up to me, but I have a confession. I too know the cerebral itch of madness. and I know madness can be put to good use. Even these crazy fucks right here. In the background, Nanny has Orphan Maker cover his ears for, so he doesn't have to hear Sinister swearing. Apocalypse responds, saying he's not grown so accustomed to bureaucracy that he'll listen to Sinister prattle on indefinitely. Basically saying, get to the point before there's violence. And so Sinister continues explaining that these mutants have known only pain and suffering, except for Havoc, who has no excuse. They know quiet only in carnage, peace only in violence, tranquility only in insanity. If that is how they best express their gifts, who are we to stop them? Is not the expression of their mutation a birthright? Though, and Xavier is going to explain, just mention that they haven't codified that in the Krakoan law. With Magneto adding that they will, and conceding that Sinister might have a point. Which does not make Cyclops happy, though Havoc is trying to calm him. Jean actually hits him with the bureaucracy of your objections are heard, and the council will decide how to proceed. And Storm tells Cyclops to leave them so they consider Sinister's proposal. Another write-up about the council meeting. Scott Summers requested I look over the minutes of the recent quiet council meeting. Upon review, I can see why. On paper, the developments are indeed alarming, and I understand why Scott is bringing every alarm he can find. But having slept on it, I do see the faintest shimmers of wisdom in giving Mr. Sinister a team of troubled mutants. Could it hurt them to have a mentor who understands what it's like to be unwell? God knows they've received enough finger-wagging and sideways glances to cure them 1,000 times over if that was going to do the trick. I sniffed around and heard rumblings you'd like to see them in the field as soon as next month. After much thought, I can throw my weight behind you as long as any missions follow these criteria. Chance of human casualties is nil. Placing these mutants in situations where their intrinsic overenthusiasm may lead to dead humans and therefore banished to the pit of exile is unacceptable. I will not stand by while our most at-risk mutants are re-traumatized by the barbaric punishment. Violent overreaction is the ideal. These are bulls in the world of the china shop. We don't let them out of their pen unless the goal is lots of broken china. There is therapeutic value in the carnage. The missions should allow these mutants to express themselves in ways frowned upon by polite society. In this freedom, perhaps they will find healing. If you can promise me these considerations, we're in business. I'll just have to find myself another friend who has a house on the moon. I'm presuming it's Beast that's supposed to be doing the write-ups. So, as mentioned in a write-up, Cyclops has been ringing every alarm he can find, including going to Quenon. And it's explained that, the way she puts it is that Sinister now wields a team of unstable mutants under the guise of therapy, and Cyclops wants a babysitter. With Cyclops saying there's trouble, they know that Quenon will keep it in check. Quenon responds by saying, "There's trouble, we both know what I'll do." Then, with Cyclops saying, "Only if the situation requires," and then asking her if something comes up with Alex, go easy on him. And she says that she will as much as she can be trusted. And so the team meets up. Basically given their mission statement by Sinister, by Sinister and Quenon, and the mission in question being traveling to the Isaac State Home for Foundlings outside Omaha, Nebraska. Orphanage that Sinister ran years and years and years ago. And in fact, the same orphanage where Cyclops and Havoc were raised until after the accident, they claimed their parent the after their parents' plane was attacked by a Shi'ar vessel and their parents were captured. However, it's not just, and so the mission is to find and destroy the clone farm that Sinister built underneath the orphanage. With Sinister explaining that it's been made redundant by the Five, and to be honest, he's let it go to the dogs. It's a complete teardown at this point. Adding that, full disclosure, he's gotten a few notes that it is an abomination against nature, decency, and, if God exists, him too. Qui-Gon then continues explaining that it's not just a demolition job, though. The rest of the Marauders, the old school Marauders, presumably minus Sabretooth as well as Scalp Hunter, are holed up inside, refusing to come to Krakoa. With Qui-Gon adding that these are psychopathic mutant assassins and everyone needs to be careful. Rules of engagement are set down by Qui-Gon, explaining that no one engages the mutants unless she declares them hostile and gives the order, as she is the team's leader in the field. Scalper points out, though, that Wildchild's not going to accept an alpha that can't dominate him physically. That could be a problem. Though Qui-Gon assures him it won't be. As they get ready to leave, Scalp Hunter pointedly explains to Empath that if he thinks for a second that Empath is using his powers on any of them at any time for any reason, Scalp Hunter will shoot him between the eyes. But it appears we are already seeing some team bonding between Scalp Hunter and Wildchild, which promptly leads to a quick scuffle between the two of them, and Scalp Hunter slamming Wildchild face first into the floor. As the rest of the team heads off to the transport, Qui-Gon confronts Sinister about information, claiming that there's something that Sinister isn't telling her. And Sinister says, "Yeah, there's absolutely information I'm keeping from you. That's what's going to make the mission fun." He then adds that the team's in for a very fraught adventure. It's super unpleasant. He then asks her to be a deer and walk into hell for him. So, then cut to the Essex State Home for Foundlings. Here are people tied by their ankles to the roof. Those people being the Marauders, and someone with what appears to be magical powers. That person is Madeline Pryor, who tells the captured Marauders to rest for the horror to come. And that is where the issue ends. However, that is not the end of the video. I said that I would do this, so, want to make a quick shout out to my first patron via Patreon, Brittany. Thank you. Looking forward to basically, month by month, giving you the old shout out on here. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long, rock hard, and be safe, everyone.